Hey, what's going on everybody? My name is Cruz and welcome back to another video. In this one we're going to discuss what's in my gig bag. So if you're a touring guitarist, a gigging musician, it's important that you have the right kind of stuff with you at every single event. You could just be playing at your local church all the way to flying to shows. These are the things that I believe you should carry in your gig bag. Let's check out what I've got. So first and foremost, I'm using an SKB case, and this thing is amazing. It protects my guitar just like a hard shell case would, but it's giggable, right? It has book bag straps, it has pockets. I trust it just as much as I would trust any hard shell case on the market right now, and this thing protects my baby. Inside of it, I keep a ton of things. Let's go through it. So the first thing that I put in my case every single time is my iPad. My iPad comes everywhere with me. I usually prepare on this thing, so if there's any sheet music that I need, lyrics, set list, or what have you, it's on this iPad. I also bring a charger with me that can charge right off of my pedal board because I use the Bright Switch, which has an extra USB port, and I can charge this thing even while on a gig. Now, when I'm the music director at my church, so when I fill in for the music director, this is really important because not only do I have the notes on this thing, the set list, but I also have my click tracks and tracks in general set up on this thing as well. So very useful tool. It's what I keep in my gig bag. I always bring paper and a pencil with me. You never know when you have to write something down, whether it's a change that you may not be able to remember, or even just, hey, tomorrow's sound check starts at 10 o'clock. These are the things you might want to write down on a piece of paper so to make sure you do not forget. Super important. Preparation. You guys know how I feel about that. The other thing that I bring to every single event with me is this DI box. Especially now that I'm using the HX Stomp, I want to make sure that I come prepared with a DI box that I trust. This is a RADIAL Engineering Pro DI passive direct box. Nothing special, but you know what? It's durable and gets the job done. And don't forget to label your equipment, because 9 times out of 10 a sound guy might even have the same kind of equipment as you, and if you're using your own, you don't want him to walk away with yours. Label it. I also always carry a set of fresh strings with me everywhere I go. I happen to use the NYXL's 10 to 46, but whatever you use is fine. And then I also carry tools to be able to actually fix something on the fly, whether it's a neck adjustment, or after changing my strings I find that the action isn't quite right or the intonation needs a little bit of work. String winder, a wrench, whatever it is you have to bring. So I bring some tools with me everywhere that I go to make sure that I'm prepared for the absolute worst case scenario. The other important piece that I bring everywhere with me that's almost just as important to me as my guitar is this PELICAN micro case. Now this thing houses stuff that I use not only at gigs, but even here on a daily basis in my studio. Let's open it up and check out what's inside. I do keep picks in here. Not all of them are the ones that I use exclusively. I use gravity picks now, but I do have others that give me different tones in case I'm in a session or playing and I don't quite feel like that pick is doing justice for me at the moment. I have others. The next thing that's in here is this D'Addario XLR to 1/4 inch TRS 1/4 inch input. This thing is amazing. Now look, the HX Stomp, I can go out of it directly. It has balanced outputs, but most sound guys don't have an XLR to 1/4 inch TRS cable ready for you. If you're not going to have a DI ready for you, they're going to give you just an XLR. This is the best way to be able to turn that XLR into the kind of input or output that you would need for something like the HX Stomp. So I carry this as a backup, but I typically bring my own direct box. I prefer that method better. Next we have my slide. I forget who makes this one. I've had it for a little while now. In case you haven't noticed in my videos, I have gigantic hands, like Andre the Giant style hands. Look at that. Zoom in, zoom out. They're massive, and most slides don't fit my fingertips. They just don't. So this one happens to be made for someone who wants to be able to leave the slide on their finger and then turn it so they could play chords and then bring it back around when they're ready to use the slide. It sits right at my ring finger the way I need it to. It also comes with different adjustments. Of course, I'm using the biggest adjustment possible, but you can make it smaller with different inputs. This is the largest one. I think it's their XXL or XL, whatever. But my slide, I don't use a ton of slide, but I do love it. Next are my in-ears. I happen to use relatively inexpensive in-ears. These are the SHURE SE215s. I actually prefer single drivers sometimes because I'm a guitarist. so I don't have bass and drums and all these things in my in-ears quite as loud as maybe someone else would in the band. I want that mid-range frequency, and I feel like these do a good job translating that in my ears. Now they are a little bit bright, so I do have to compensate for that, but for the most part, when I dial in my tones using monitors, studio monitors like the ones behind me, when I then put these on, they sound very, very accurate. So I'm very happy with the Shure SE215s. And finally, the last piece of gear that's in this Pelican case is my CAPO. I probably use this thing more than I honestly should, but I use it here in the studio live all of the time. I am not ashamed to admit that I use a CAPO any chance that I can get. This is the G7th CAPO. This is an amazing CAPO, the best I've ever tried. I have various guitars with modern sort of radius necks, and then I have my NASH, which I prefer nowadays, with a very vintage radius. And so if you have that very thick neck, you know that not all CAPOs are able to fit that with ease, but the G7th does it without a problem. Highly recommend it. Goes everywhere with me. Next in the guitar case is my guitar strap. I actually was thinking of doing an entire video on this because I think this company deserves a lot of attention. This is an ESO strap. I discovered this company a while ago before they were really popping. They still had like a patent pending type of a thing. This guitar strap is amazing. Now I'm a big boy, so I've always used bass straps versus guitar straps, so this is their bass version. What's amazing about this is that it's not only very heavily padded and extremely comfortable, but as you can see, it has this sort of shoulder contour. Alright, so the strap never really touches your neck, no matter how you have it. It always sits on your shoulder perfectly. The other thing about it too, because of the way it's designed, it doesn't sort of move around. The guitar stays put exactly where you leave it, which is pretty amazing. It doesn't dig into your neck like a cheap guitar strap would. And even if it were flushing your neck, this material is so comfortable, it wouldn't bother me nearly as much as other straps do. Without a doubt, the most comfortable strap I've ever used. With other straps, typically I'll have the guitar on my shoulder, maybe a day or two will pass, and that strap will loosen up and I'll have to bring the strap back up. I never touch this. It's super rock solid. The only downfall is it's kind of a pain in the butt to actually adjust, but the upside to that is that you adjust it once and you'll never have to touch it again. So I never leave home without my ESO strap. And last but not least, of course, the guitar itself. This is my NASH T52, and that case is meant for either Telecasters or Stratocasters. I've put both kind of guitars in there without a problem. And this is a relatively large Tele. It's very thick, and it also has a Bigsby, right? So the Bigsby, it's always very hard to get a case that accommodates a Bigsby because the Bigsby sits up just like that, right? Even if you put the bar like this, the case still catches this part of the Bigsby and it lays on it like that. This case fits all kind of guitars very comfortably, nice and snug. I don't feel or hear the guitar going back and forth. This is, to be honest with you, a relatively expensive guitar, and I wouldn't feel comfortable putting it in an expensive case. So that tells you how much I trust the SKB case back there. That's it. That's what's in my gig bag. Of course, I have a pedal board case, which I keep my cables and stuff in there. I don't keep that kind of stuff in the gig bag because if I ever have to change guitars that maybe I can't use that particular gig bag, like if I were using my Gibson Les Paul or something like that, I may forget the cables that are associated with the pedal board. So I keep those cables, the power cable, the cables that my in and out, whatever input cables, I keep that with the pedal board itself. If there's anything else that you think I may have forgot, or maybe something that I'm not bringing with me to a gig that I should be, definitely let me know in the comments section. Be sure to like this video, subscribe if you haven't done so, and hit that bell icon so you make sure you get an alert every time I upload a video. Thanks for watching, and until next time.